Alright, welcome to the second video today. We're going to look at today the rotations that kind of we've been working on in class. We're going to look at rotating a figure around the coordinate plane. Remember, before we start, remember each quadrant, if I start on these quadrants, remember we're still talking about quadrant 1 being positive, positive, quadrant 2 being negative, positive, quadrant 3 is negative, negative as far as your xy's go, and quadrant 4 is positive, negative. Well, remember when we're rotating, there are 3 or 4 different ways we can do these. But remember, first off, remember each quadrant as you rotate from each quadrant is a 90-degree rotation. So if I rotate from quadrant 1 into quadrant 2, that's 90 degrees. 2 into 3 is 90 degrees, and 3 into 4 is 90 degrees. So each quadrant is 90 degrees, and we can do any combination of those 2 or 3, of those rotations. To describe the rotation of an object as we move around. Remember, a rotation is a turn of an object. We're going to take that object and we're going to turn it, and unlike a translation that just slid the object and changed location, a turn will change the location as well as the direction of an object. Okay, and it also still is going to be congruent because all you're doing is moving it from one location to the next and turning direction. You're not changing the size of it. So these are still going to be congruent shapes. So your image and your pre-image will be congruent to each other because they are going to be carbon copies of each other. Okay, so let's kind of take a look at what we have. Same kind of graph we just used, except now we're going to, instead of translating, now we're going to rotate. So here I have triangle ABC, and what I want to do is I want to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, and let's go back over here real quick to go to this page because I forgot to kind of remind you this. Remember, clockwise is going from to the left we're going to the right. So if I'm going in this direction, okay, we're going just like a clock. Okay, this is clockwise. So clockwise is to the right. And I know all this is getting jumbled up. I should erase it. I apologize. And then by the same token, if I want to go in the other direction, if I want to go this way, I want to go backwards. This is counterclockwise, and it goes to the left. Okay? And some way to maybe can help you think about it a little bit better. And this is why when you do clocks, think about a clock. Up here you have 12 o'clock. Here you have 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Well, if I'm going clockwise, I'm going in the order that the clock goes. I'm going this way. Okay? Counterclockwise means against the clock. So again, clockwise with the clock. Counterclockwise is against the clock. Right and left. Okay? So I hope that clears that up for you. Alright, so let's go look at what we're going to do here. We're going to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise. Well, that means if we're in these quadrants, remember this is quadrant 2, so clockwise is to the right, which means we're going to go into quadrant 4. All right. So let's get our coordinates, because remember we're going to need to know the coordinates first before we can fix this. So if I look at A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went left 9 and up 6. So that coordinate is negative 9, positive 6. B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I went left 5, up 9. And then C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So C went left 4, up 3. All right. So now remember the rule for 90 degrees. Remember the 2 words that we talked about learning. If it's 90 anything, remember the rotation we talked about. We're going to switch it. And then we're going to fix the pairs according to the quadrant that we're in. Okay, so if I go A prime, B prime, and C prime, all we're going to do is take our pairs and we're going to switch them. 9, we're not worried about signs yet. Remember, 9, 6 becomes 6, 9. 5, 9 becomes 9, 5. And 4, 3 becomes 3, 4. All right. So pretty simple, straightforward here. Just take the pairs, we switch the order. The X becomes the Y becomes the X. And now, if I remember correctly, quadrant 1 is the quadrant I'm in, and the pairs in quadrant 1, the X is positive and the Y is positive. Well, positive, 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 positive. So all I have to do now is just graph this. So let's graph A prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There is A prime. And again, remember, I'm counting lines. I'm not counting boxes. Okay, don't get caught up trying to count those boxes. We're counting the lines. All right, here's B prime. Let's count 9 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is B prime. And then C prime is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's not a 4. Excuse me. That's supposed to be C. There it is, C prime. All right. So if I draw this shape, if you look, A was on the kind of the side, B was on the top, and C was here. Everything is kind of rotated down. Okay, A is now on top, B is down, and now C is over here. So this image has been rotated 90 degrees clockwise. It is still congruent. The only thing that's changed is the location and the direction. Okay, so remember, switch and fix 90 degrees. Okay, let's go back real quick and let's say, what if I want to do this one? Let's go 90 degree counterclockwise. Okay, let's go back here for just a second. Let's get our pairs because there's no sense in writing them twice. Okay, so if I go back right here, we can do this. Let's do this. We know our pairs, so let's kind of get rid of this. We can leave that. So now we want to do a 90 degree counterclockwise rotation. We want to go the other direction. Okay, so my pairs, we may mess up. Let's rewrite them. So A is -9, 6, B -5, 9, and C -4, 3. Okay, so this is my original pairs. These are these pairs over here. All right. So now the rule says now I want to go counterclockwise. Well, counterclockwise means I want to go from quadrant 2 into quadrant 3 because I'm going against the clock in one quadrant. All right, so let's talk about what's going to go happen here. Same concept. All we're going to do now is we're going to switch the pairs again. 6, 9, 9, 5, and 3, 4. All I did was switch the orders. The X is now Y, Y is now X. Okay. All right, so we have A prime, B prime, C prime. So now we know we're in quadrant 3. Well, remember from the first part, quadrant 3, the signs are negative, negative. So both of my numbers now in my coordinates are now negative. Okay, so negative, negative. So then we can graph it. So let's graph it. So -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know this is 5. So that's 5 and 4 is 9. So there is A prime. All right, B, same thing. I know that's 5. 4 more is 9. There is B prime. And then C prime is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's C prime. And there is my shape. Okay, and all it is it rotated down. If you'll notice, C was kind of here, now it's on top. Everything has been rotated down. Look at A. A went from top to bottom. B went from kind of top to bottom, and then C rotated as well. So it's facing a different direction and it's at a different location. Okay, see how that works? All right, so let's go to the next one. Let's just do a 180. So we have a triangle, a square, excuse me, right here. And what I want to do now is, remember, I want to do a 180 degree rotation. Well, remember, it doesn't matter which direction because a 180 is 2 times 90 rotation. So you're going to do 2 90s. And you can take the long way around and do switch and fix, and do it twice. Remember, we learned the shortcut in class. We talked about just leaving the pairs alone. So let's write down our pairs first. So we have A is what? We got 5, -3. B is 5, 9, -3. And I know, y'all, I'm counting because I know these big lines are 5s, okay? C is 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9, -7. And D is 5, -7. Okay? So we have our pairs, we have our order. Now, what I want to do is, remember, with a 180 degree rotation, I'm not going to worry about switching them twice, because if you switch them, they're going to come right back to where they're at. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change colors first, excuse me. Okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get this blue. All right, I'm going to go A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. All I'm going to do is take these pairs, I'm going to write them in the same exact order. Not going to change them this time because we're doing a 180, okay? Now remember, we talked about the rule actually is to multiply each one of these coordinates by -1, and it would get you the coordinate. But remember, we talked about another thing too, is just a really shortcut. Whatever they are, just change the sign. This is a +5. It's going to become a -5. -3 becomes a +3. So whatever the sign is, just change it. Well, in this case, I'm changing all of the x's to negatives, all of the y's to positive. And now I can go graph it. So let's go graph A prime. Left 5, which is here, and up 3. Okay, there is A prime. B is left 9, up 3, which is right here. There's B prime. C, left 9, up 7. That is C prime. And then D is left 5, up 7, which is D prime. Okay, so we're going to go right there with it. Okay, and there it is. So all I did was I rotated 2 quadrants from quadrant 4 into quadrant 2. And if you remember, quadrant 2 has negative x's, positive y. So that will help you out a little bit too. But also just remember, just change the signs. Whatever the signs are, just change them. Okay? So 180, so you're going to keep the order of the pairs the same. Whatever the order is, keep it. And then you're going to change both signs. Whatever the signs are, just change them to the opposite of that. And that would help you get you to the quadrant you need. Okay? And then remember, 180 is 2 rotations. All right? Let's go one more. Let's go with this rectangle. Now what I want to do now is I want to think about, let's one more. We have one more rotation we can do. We can do a 270-degree rotation. Well, if you'll think about this, remember we talked about a 270-degree rotation. Well, that is 3 times 90 degrees. And that one means I would have to switch. Let's just do this clockwise, which means I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go from quadrant 1. Well, a 270-degree clockwise is 3 rotations, so I would have to switch and fix, switch it and fix it, switch it and fix it again. Well, there is a shortcut for this. If I do a 270 clockwise rotation, I'm going from quadrant 1 into quadrant 2 the long way. Well, there's a different way I can do this. I can actually go backwards. So a 270 clockwise is the same as a 90-degree counterclockwise. You just go in the opposite direction. You're just taking a little shortcut. Now I only have to do each pair one time instead of 3 times. Okay? So let's see what this rectangle is going to look like. So here's A, B, C, D. Here's A, and I know this is 5. That's 5, 10. So A is at 5, 10. B is at 10, 12. And guys, all I'm doing is counting. Again, I know this is 5 and I know that's 5. So 12, 5, 10. So 12, 10 is B. So 5, 10. Okay, 12, 10. All right, C is 5. That's 12, 7. And then D is 5, 7. Okay, and again, remember, I don't want to do this 3 times. I'm going to get the same thing if I do it 1 time the other way or 3 times this way. So all I'm going to do right here is I'm going to say, all right, let's switch, because now we're back to the 90 degrees. We're going to switch. So A prime becomes 10, 5. B prime is going to become 10, 12. C prime is going to become 7, 12. And D prime is going to become 7, 5. Now that's got my pairs switched. Now let's fix according to where we're at. Well, we went from quadrant 1 into quadrant 2. And remember, quadrant 2, the X is negative and the Y is positive. All right, so now we can fix the sign. So all of my X's now are going to be negative, and all of my Y's are going to stay positive. So now I can graph this. So let's go with A. So we're going to go left 10, up 5. There's A prime. B is negative 10 up 12. There's B prime. C, negative 7, positive 12, which is way up here. And then D is negative 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, which is right here. And here is my rotated rectangle. And notice it changed locations and it changed directions, but it's still the same shape, it is still the same size, and it still has all four of these right angle measurements the same in both of these. So again, this shape is congruent to the other. Okay, so the geometric transformation that we just did was a rotation. It is a rigid transformation that all it changes is the location and the direction of an object. So you had the 270, remember, is the same. So I could have went the other way. If this was 270 counterclockwise, I could have done instead of going three ways this way, I could have done a 90 clock. So just remember, these are opposites. So 270 clockwise is equal to a 90 counter. A 270 counterclockwise is going to be equal to a 90 clock. So I could have went right here. All right. Remember, a 180 is 2 rotations, but the rule says, for me, remember we talked about the rule being multiply both of them by -1, but the shortcut really is to keep the pairs the same, just change both signs. Whatever the signs are, keep the order the same, just change both signs. And then you have naturally the 90 degree, which I think you guys were really knocking that one out of the park, doing really well with this one. Okay? All right. So hopefully that helps, and we'll talk some more tomorrow. Have a great evening.